In today's conversation, we're going to talk about something that I hear talked about quite a bit with restaurant brands that are out there. It's really what are the three different ways that you can deal with the credit card discounting, cash discounting, credit card surcharging, and dual pricing. Most operators in the last few years have at least considered this if they haven't already implemented it. And in today's episode, we're going to go through some of the things that I think make the most sense. I'm sure there's going to be some things that I miss. But the whole idea is just to educate our listeners out there to talk through the ways that I think it needs to be done properly and some of the cautionary tales that I would say continue to go out into the industry as it relates to dual pricing and what are the booby traps there. Where do you go for cash discounting and what are some of the things that you might be able to find there? And then credit card surcharging and charging, what's going on with credit card surcharging. The thing that I guess I'll first start with for everybody is talking to our listeners about how the credit card companies are making money. And we talk about a 3% blended rate. Obviously, brands that have larger volume or a larger number of stores might be able to get down to that 2.5% blended rate. And we talk to a lot of operators about how much of the percentage of their sales are credit cards. Some of them are upwards of 100%. Some of them are 70%, 80%. It kind of depends on where things are at. But every year, you guys are paying $2,000 to $3,000 a month based on some of these numbers that are here. $1 million restaurant, 3% blended rate, $30,000 a year to your credit card processor as it relates per store per year to end up processing credit cards, which again, oftentimes is a cost of doing business. But what are some of the ways to help offset some of those costs within your brand? So we're going to talk a little bit about what are the three ways that we've talked about. How are different people implementing it? Again, we'll talk about somebody that struggled because they didn't understand the rules and where did that thing come from, and what my long-term recommendation would be. So let's just kind of set the ground rules that say what are the three different ways. So as you can see on the screen here, surcharging is one menu price, and then you add on a fee for credit cards. It is capped by Visa and MasterCard at 3%. It's shown as a line item. This is credit card surcharge. It shows that. The second is a cash discount. It's one menu item price, and it is the card price. And then if you do cash, you get a percentage off. And then the third is the idea of dual pricing. The idea that you show two different prices up front. What is the card price? What is the cash price? So those are really the three different ways that we continue to hear and talk to different brands as to what they're doing. Let's start by defining what is a surcharge. Again, some rules of engagement as it relates to surcharging. Surcharging is precise. It recovers the real costs on the credit cards. Unfortunately, it is not legal everywhere. Geographically, it is banned in Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, Puerto Rico, Colorado, and Oklahoma. It's not completely banned, but they cap it at 2% instead of 3%. New York makes you post the full card inclusive price right next to the regular price, so it gets a little bit messy. And for every one of these, it's a huge violation if you don't end up doing it the way that they need to, that each of the states need to. There's a $500 charge in many of these areas. Also, in Visa's world, the cap on surcharging is at 3%. I know I've been a consumer. I've been out places where they did end up doing surcharging, and it was more than 3%. And I kind of told the owner, "Hey, man, you probably need to think about this and do something different." But Visa caps it as of April of 2023 at 3%. You need to make sure that you're doing that, and the fines are pretty significant if they catch you. You can see $50,000 to $1 million when they start to enforce it and figure out where things are at. One other thing about surcharging that a lot of people don't think about is the fact that you cannot surcharge a debit card. Even if that debit card is run as a credit card, it has to be counted like cash. We see a lot of people that have not built this into their POS, have not built this into their card processing environment. And so, unfortunately, if you're surcharging, which again is fully legal in the states that we're talking about, you just have to make sure that your POS and your card processing looks at a debit card, even if it has a Visa or MasterCard logo on it, and it processes it as a debit card and acts like it's a cash transaction. Again, federal law and the card brands rules both say that your POS has to look at the card bin range, the binary numbers that are on that card to understand where it's at. And if it does not come through as a credit card, you're not allowed to charge the 3% or whatever your smaller amount is by state. The second is the whole idea of cash discounting. Cash discounting is illegal in all 50 states, including even those ones that we talked about earlier, Connecticut, Oklahoma, New York, that have different rules around it. So cash discounting is something that is legal and something that I'd tell everybody to consider. I think it's probably one of the better ways to put things out there. Get put the card price on the menu and then you discount for cash. Really turns into one of those things that a lot of the consumers that are out there understand that you're having to pay for the card processing. But if they do bring in cash, well, it's a little bit harder to maintain. It is also, though, something that you can look like the good guy to your customers. Again, the whole idea is that even in a cash discounting world, you need to put the menu price up front, tell everybody about it, let everybody know what's going on, and then you can really get into a place where you're the good guy on these items. The third way that we continue to see people talking about is the whole idea of dual pricing. Dual pricing is legal in all 50 states. It is one of those things where again, there's no cap. You can do dual pricing at 3%, 4%, 5% if you want to. There's no registration. You just have to decide, hey, here's where we're at. We're going to have two prices for everything. Again, as the slide says, gas stations have done it for years and years and years. So I think everybody understands when it comes to dual pricing, but where it impacts the restaurant operator is the fact that it is more work. The price has to be in both systems multiple times. I mean, in every system multiple times. If you've got POS, then you've got online ordering, you've got in-store. There's a whole lot of different work that needs to go to doing this because you've got every single item needs to be in there with two different prices. So I'm going to share with you guys something as I was looking through and doing some research for this. It's a restaurant out of DC that got that was a very, very, very large restaurant, $29 million a year is what the lawsuit said. But they had a 3.75% surcharge that was disclosed in fine print at the bottom of the menu. You can see it here on the slide, but they were not doing it in a legal way. And at the end of the day, it cost them millions of dollars to fight this lawsuit that they got stuck with. So I would encourage you guys to look at all of these laws, look at all of the rules that are in each of both these slides, as well as what's your local jurisdiction. Again, I'm recording this at a point in time. Things could change by the time that this gets published, but I would tell you to look at these things and evaluate, is it something you're able to do? Can you manage it? Can you sustain it? And ensuring that you're doing it properly, because you'd hate to have to shut down your restaurant because of it. Now, on to, I guess, my thoughts. If you can do it, dual pricing is probably the cleanest way to do things. It is clean. It does require you to do more work, but it does end up allowing you, even in debit cards, to go after and get those fees. It does allow you to manage all 50 states. So as you start to run through the different jurisdictions that you're in, as you guys are growing, it treats your guests like part of the transaction and knows what's going on. And it is audit proof by design. There's no caps. You can charge more than 3%. There's not a whole bunch of rules when it comes to dual pricing. Again, many POSs don't support it. Many people don't want to have to manage these different things. It's hard as it is. So if you're not going to do dual pricing as the best option, I would encourage you to consider doing cash discounting. Credit card surcharging, in my opinion, and based on all the research I've done, is the least favorable. Cash discounting is the second least or the second most favorable, and dual pricing is probably the most. Again, I'm going to encourage you guys to continue to do some research. Look out at some of the lawsuits that have been filed based on what's going on within our space. This was a $38 billion lawsuit related to Visa and MasterCard and dealing with interchange and dealing with the card brands and all of the different things that they are struggling with. I would encourage you guys to look at this, because at the end of the day, part of why you show up to this channel and part of why you continue to hear more and more about what's going on within the restaurant technology space is the idea that you are going to be in charge of what it is that you're doing. So I would encourage you guys to look today. Here's the homework for anybody that's listened to this entire episode to this point. Go look at your effective rate. Go look at where you're at. Take your total sales, take your total credit card fees, and divide them. Look at what they're at. Not what they told you on the contract, but where is it really at? Go back to the people that are doing your processing. Help understand where it's at. Go run a debit card. If you've got a debit card in your wallet, go run it as a Visa. See what happens. If you've got any of these things set up, are you being legit? Do you have things out and notice for your customers? And last, if your POS can support dual pricing, look for it. See if that's something that you can do. Again, thank you guys for showing up to the show. Thank you guys for subscribing for those that already have. Again, I forgot to introduce myself, but if you don't know me, my name is Jeremy Julian. I run the Restaurant Technology Guys podcast. I've also been in the space for over 30 years, running different restaurant technology platforms, and make it a great day.